to place the matter on record?
I please the court, my lady. Morning.
Morning, Mr. Pinar. Nelisiwe, are you there?
Yes.
Yes.
Morning, Judge.
Good.
5th of June, 2022, calling the matter of life. Judge.
Thank you very much, Mr. Late.
Thank you, my lady. My lady, the next witness is Patricia Mbacha. She's number 28.
Nelisiwe, may you swear her in?
Thank you, Judge. Ma'am, please state your full name and surname for the record.
Shambacha.
Do you have any objections to taking the prescribed oath?
I don't have any.
Do you swear that the evidence
If the answer to the question or questions will likely incriminate you, you have the right not to answer that question and tell the court that you will not answer the question for fear of incriminating yourself. Do you understand?
I do understand, my lady.
Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Late.
Thank you, my lady. Ms. Mbacha, can you inform the court what are your qualifications?
I'm a registered nurse, having a diploma in midwifery, psychiatry, and community health nursing. I also have a BK.
Just go slow. There is nobody who's going to give you any hiding. Just relax. You are a registered nurse. And then you have a diploma in midwifery.
Psychiatry.
Just a second. Midwifery. Psychiatry.
And community health.
Yes. Continue.
I also have a BK in nursing management and nursing education.
Yes.
And I also have certificates in dispensing of medication and management of HIV and AIDS.
Yes.
Is that all?
That's all, my lady.
My lady, I would like to take the court to an affidavit deposed to by the witness. It can be found on page 542 of case lines. It is A21 on the general statements.
Continue.
Ms. Mbacha, I marked this statement as in red as CC1. Do you have it with you?
Yes, I have it with me.
Is this the statement that you had made after consulting with the prosecution team and the police at our offices?
Yes, that's the statement that I did. Thank you.
Did you read the statement before you signed it?
I did the statement and then signed the statement.
Is it your signature that is visible on page 545 under
That's my
paragraph 11?
That's my statement.
Do you confirm the statement?
I do confirm the contents of the statement, Councillor.
Thank you, Ms. Mbacha, my lady. With your ladyship's permission, I would like to hand this statement in as Exhibit CC1.
Thank you very much. The statement of the witness, Ms. Mbacha, it's admitted into evidence and it's not 8 CC. This appears on pages 542, 545 on case line. Thank you.
Thank you, my lady. The next affidavit I'd like to refer the court to is a statement by the witness that can be found on page 4343. It relates to the deceased number 50, Timothy Gumal.
Yes.
I mark this statement CC2, Ms. Mbacha. Do you have a statement with you?
Yes, I do have a statement with me.
Is this also a statement that you had made?
Yes. That's a statement I've made. Contents, and I'm not sure if I should at this time give the amendments.
Any objection to this?
No objection, my lady.
Thank you. The statement of the witness as it appears on pages 4.
Thank you, my lady. The next statement I would like to refer the court to. It can be found on page 4333. It's also regarding the
I do have the statement with me.
Is it also a statement that you had made?
Yes, that's a statement I've made.
Is this is it your
I do confirm the contents thereof.
My lady, with your ladyship's permission, I would like this statement to be handed in as Exhibit CC3.
Any objection?
No objection, my lady.
Thank you very much. The statement of the witness is admitted into evidence as it appears on pages 4333 to 4340 on case line. It is admitted on to evidence and marked exhibit CC3.
The next statement, my lady, I would like to refer the court to. It can be found on page 4496 of case lines, and it pertains to deceased number 52, William Mvulani. I've marked it CC4.
Yes.
Do you have access to the statement, Ms. Mbacha?
I do have access to the statement.
Is this also a statement that was made by you?
It was made by me.
Do you confirm the signature on each page as well as on page 4501 as your signature?
I do confirm this, the signatures.
Did you read the statement before you signed it?
Yes, I did read the statements before I signed.
Do you confirm the contents of that statement?
I do confirm the contents of the statement.
Good. My lady, with the ladyship's permission, I would like to hand this statement in as exhibit CC4.
Is there any objection?
No objection, my lady.
Thank you, Mr. Pinar. The statement of the witness as it appears on case line pages 4496 to 4501 in respect of docket number 52, deceased William Mvulani, is handed in and marked exhibit CC4.
Thank you, my lady. My lady, the next statement I would like to refer the court to can be found on page 4572. It's also in connection with docket number 1552, the deceased William Mvulani. And I marked it CC5. Do you have access to the statement, Ms. Mbacha?
I do have access to the statement.
Is it correct that that you signed the statement?
I did sign the statement.
Did you read it before you signed it?
I did read it, answer.
Do you confirm the contents thereof?
I do confirm the contents thereof.
With the court's permission, I would like to hand the statement in as exhibit CC5.
Any objection?
No objection, my lady.
Thank you. The statement of the witness as it appears on pages 4572 to 4573 in respect of the deceased William Mvulani, docket number 52. It's admitted into the record and it's marked exhibit CC5.
Thank you, my lady. Ms. Mbacha, there are certain amendments that you would like to make regarding to exhibit CC1. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And those amendments are contained in a document that I marked CC6. Do you have that document before you?
Yes, I do have.
And that document was signed
Where is the document, Mr. Pinar, if you can refer me to case line?
I don't think it has been loaded up to case line. I'll do it just now, my lady. Support, just give me a minute. If my lady, I was under the impression that it was already uploaded to case lines by my colleague, but unfortunately she did not do it. The court can just give me 5 minutes so that I can upload it for the court to have access to the document. Can your ladyship hear me?
Can you give me the page number?
It's not uploaded to case lines yet, my lady.
It's fine. You may proceed, and then please don't forget to give the court the number.
Yes.
Page number.
Yes. Okay. Is it correct that the contents of this document is, as you had indicated to Mr. Profi, what the amendments was that you wanted to make?
Yes, it's correct. The amendments are correct. And I would also like to add that the amendments will also go through all the statements where I've written Ubuhlebe Nkosi and Umehluko.
Okay.
Come again.
Malady?
What are you saying?
I was saying the amendments on the name of the NGO Ubuhlebe Nkosi and Umehluko. It will apply to all the statements of my position in those organizations.
Continue, Mr. Pino.
Thank you, my lady. Now, as I have no further questions for this witness, my lady.
Yes, but this is not yet handed in.
I beg your pardon, my lady. I would like to hand in this statement of these notes
How do
regarding.
we hand it in while I don't have it?
I'll upload it to, if the court can give me just 5 minutes, I'll upload it to case lines.
Okay.
Can we just adjourn for 5 minutes, my lady?
Mrs. Mbacha, you are still having evidence. You are still testifying. The oath that you are using to testify will still apply. You are not allowed to discuss your evidence with anybody else until you finished testifying. The court is going to take a short adjournment. Thank you. The court will adjourn.
As the court pleases, my lady.
May it please the court, my lady.
It's by snaps. 37506.
I think something is not right. What I see here, the page starts from 37506 to 37508. Yes. Would you like to hand in the document?
Yes, my lady. I'd like to hand it in as Exhibit CC6.
Any objection?
No objection, my lady.
Thank you. The document as it appears on pages 37506 to 37508 of case line, it's admitted into evidence and is marked Exhibit CC6. Thank you.
Thank you, my lady. I have no further questions for this witness.
Thank you. Any questions from the team of Mr. Watt Pringle?
Thank you, my lady. No questions for the witness.
Mr. Wooders?
May it please the court, my lady. No questions for this witness.
Thank you. Mr. Van Bergen?
Thank you, my lady. My lady, I believe you skipped Mr. Pienaar.
Yes, my apologies. Mr. Pienaar?
May it please the court, my lady, no questions to this witness.
Thank you.
I
Mr. Van
would
Bergen?
request an indulgence. Should anything come up in future cross-examination, I would request to be, and it is applicable, I would request to be granted the opportunity to question on such issues. May it please the court, my lady.
Thank you. Mr. Van Bergen?
Thank you, my lady. No questions at this stage, but with the same reservation as Mr. Pienaar.
Ms. Asim? Is Ms. Asim there? Yes.
Yes, thank you, my lady. I just have a few questions for the witness.
Continue.
Good morning, Ms. Mbacha.
Good morning, Councillor.
My name is Adila Hassam and I represent families of the deceased.
Okay.
I have a few questions in relation to your NGO and your statement. Is it correct, the impression I get, particularly from your statement at page 542, CC1, is that you were not ready to receive users from Life Esidimeni when they were transferred to your NGO. Would I be correct?
If I can be referred to the page that you're referring to, so that I can understand.
Well, it's more. If you can go to your statement.
Yes.
Page 542.
So it's across several paragraphs. For example, you describe the first premises that you identified in order to take users, but that didn't work because male users were going to be allocated to you. Then you identified another premises, and then yet a third, which I think was in Marabastad, which was an old prison. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
And
Just a second. If one can understand, I thought we were still putting her. We had indicate that she was not yet ready at the time.
Well, I'm getting to that, my lady. So the first thing is that there were several premises that you sort of went through before you eventually were able to locate a place that you could take users. Is that right?
That's right.
And it's like in Marabastad that you sourced or used or rented or leased as premises?
That's right.
And when was that?
In June 2016.
In June 2016.
Yes.
So you only obtained those premises in June 2016.
The Orchards one, I obtained it in
I'm
March.
into the Marabastad one, the one that you ultimately.
Yes, I obtained it in June, the beginning of June 2016.
And was this?
Just sorry to interrupt. And this is the premises where you operated with the license that was allocated to the orchard premises. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yes. Continue.
So in other words, these premises were not licensed.
Yes.
Were they inspected?
Just hold it there. Continue, Ms. Asif.
Were the premises inspected by before you received mental health care users?
The premises.
She's talking about the Marabastad premises. Am I correct?
That's correct, my lady.
What is the response?
The premises was inspected by the team before the patients were brought.
And that team was made up of Hannah Jacobus and Frans Tabani.
According to my statement, that's correct.
So you received 40 mental health care users in June 2016.
Yes, I did.
That was the same month in which you began operating.
Yes.
And were you ready to receive that many users in one go? You referred to 40.
So, when you meant ready, what
Were you ready to receive users, 40 users in one go?
I was ready to receive them.
And how many nurses were in your employ?
There was one professional nurse, as I was, but there were other nurses and care workers. So all in all, there were 14 employees.
14 employees.
14.
Yes, 14.
And you were the only
Come again? Did she?
Personally attend. And why then, if you say the place was compliant, did you have to move after 1 month?
I was informed by the Department of Health that because the mental health care users were placed in the first floor, that would be a danger to them, because they had to go.
So you say that they had just found that the place was not compliant?
Yes, after a month, but before it was said to be compliant.
Was it the same officials who...
Mr. C. Yes, continue.
Was it the same officials who had first inspected the premises who then determined it to be non-compliant?
I don't remember.
You don't remember who came after 1 month and told you you need to move?
There was a team, but I don't remember who gave the directive. There was a team who came after a month to support and to check on the NGO, but I don't remember the people who came.
And then where did you, so after a month, you moved 40 mental health care users. Is that correct?
36.
36 mental health care users.
Mm.
What happened to the other 4?
One died and the other 3 were transferred to other NGOs.
Just hold it there.
Which was the user that died?
Just a second, Mr. C. Yes, continue.
Ms. Mbasha, I was just wanted to know who was the user who died in the first month?
It was the late Mr. Willem Rayan.
Thank you. So where did you move to after the month, after that first month?
To Lanseria.
To?
Lanseria.
And were these premises licensed before you moved the users?
The premises were inspected and approved.
That was prior to the transfer?
Yes,
prior to this movement?
Yes, prior to this movement.
Who inspected the premises?
Mr. Franz Tobani and a team. I don't remember the others, but he was leading the team.
And how did you identify these premises?
I looked for a place which had space for the users to move around during the day. I looked for a place where there were no stairs so that I know that they are safe. And yeah, that's the criteria that I looked. I rectified what was wrong within the first premise.
So you say that a team inspected it and approved. Were you issued with a license before you moved?
Not at the time. Yeah, I was given the go ahead to move, but not a license before.
Okay, and who gave you the go ahead?
Mr. Franz Tobani. and the
Just hold
team.
it. Continue.
And how long did you operate from these premises?
For a month.
For 1
Oh.
month.
Yes, for 1 month.
Now, this is now Lanseria, the Lanseria premises.
Yes, yes.
You operated for a month.
For a month, yes.
So
Just a second. Just looking for. My pens are failing me. Just bear with me. Continue, Ms. Hasim.
So just to get this correctly, you first obtained premises in June 2016, which is where the users, they were there for, that was in Marabastad. They were there for a month, and then you moved them to premises in Lanseria. They were there for a month, and then what happened? Where were they then moved to?
To the eventual place that the mental healthcare users were housed in Mnandi Centurion, and they were there for about 8 months before they were taken, relocated.
So you found new premises in Centurion?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Why did you move after 1 month in Lanseria?
The main reason I moved from Lanseria was that the farm was not accessible with the ambulances, and I think it's on my statement.
So how did you identify premises in Centurion?
It was next to where I stayed, because in Lanseria, another reason why I moved was that because the ambulances were not accessible, and if there was a problem, I had to drive to Lanseria from Centurion to go and help, especially during the night. So it became a problem because the ambulances couldn't access. So Centurion was next to where I stayed.
So when you in your statement, the one that's marked CC1 at paragraph 9, you say that you spoke to Rochelle Gordon and Julian Lechau for a long time, that the NGO was not coping. Why was the NGO not coping?
The NGO was not coping because of the facts that I put in the letter. I think it's on case line.
Yes, can you expand on that?
I had more people who were having comorbidities, more mental health care workers who were over the age of 60, whereas my license was not permitted to have people who are frail and having comorbidities.
So the users that were admitted were not compliant with the license requirements?
Yes.
Just hold it there. Continue.
So you say you brought this to the attention of Rochelle Gordon and Julian Lachau, but you received no response from them.
Yes, I did.
You received a response from them?
I didn't receive a response.
Eventually, they did respond to your email. Is that correct?
Yes, Council.
And you say they indicated that there was nothing that they could do.
That happened. I'm sorry. Let me continue.
Just a second. Can I hear Miss Marriott? There is a hand here. The witness can just step aside if possible. Yes, Mr. Late.
It has been discussed and spoken to about in this court a lot regarding the generality of certain questions and the little help those little questions have, those general questions have regarding the specific deaths. In this matter, we have 3 people who died, 2 in which there were post-mortems. All the medical evidence is before court. We even have, in one instance, the situation of Mr. Malu, the expert evidence in the form of the evidence of Prof. Tintinger. I cannot see why Mrs. Hassim is going on in this general manner regarding what had happened before the closing of the NGO. We have 3 people here clearly had died as a result of natural causes. I can't see where Mrs. Hassim is going with regarding if she wants to state that any of these 3 had died because of the non-response by the department. I don't have any problem. If that is an argument, then put questions in that regard.
Ms. Hassim, okay, continue. Just before Ms. I think you can just finish, Mr. Lee.
If any of these questions relate to any of these deaths, I would like Mr. Hassim to put the question in connection with the specific deceased. We are not dealing with the arbitration anymore. We are dealing with the specific deceased. That's the call, please, my lady.
Can I hear Mr. Profi? Mr. Profi, your hand was up.
Yes, my lady. My lady, I agree with the evidence leader, but prior to this, Ms. Hassim had the previous difficulty as well, and the court advised that we should give the counsel. I wanted to object, but in the previous time, the court indicated that we should give the counsel the latitude to establish their cross-examination and then ask the questions. So without preempting what Ms. Hassim is getting to, I do agree that enough time has passed for us to now get to the nub of it.
Ms. Hassim?
Lady, let me say 2 things. The first is that the argument that, or the contentions by my learned friends that the circumstances in which these users were placed and transferred multiple times is not relevant to their ultimate demise, I think is a matter for argument. We certainly think it is relevant to their ultimate demise. And we say so based on the expert evidence that's already before this court, including by Professor Talatala, Dr. Talatala. So it's not irrelevant to put questions to a witness regarding the multiple moves and then ultimately where the users ended up. Second of all, it is important to know how the department responded, because what this witness has said is that she did not get support. And she specifically says that moving the patients to her NGO exposed them to danger. Now, there are witnesses to come, including the department officials, who are implicated in this statement by this witness. And I would like to put that question to her, which is where I'm getting. Second of all, it does relate to the individual deceased. There's only one individual deceased that I have a question about. I'm actually going to be quite short with this witness. But to suggest that these are generalized questions, I think is a particular interpretation that I'm not in agreement with.
Thank you. I see, before I go to Mr. Late, Mr. Martin.
As it pleases your ladyship. My lady, I think just to refer to what Ms. Hasima said right now, right before she concluded, and it highlights the concerns that Mr. Late have pointed out. Ms. Hasim says that there are witnesses coming from the department and she wants to put certain things to them. And for that reason, we are engaged in what is a set of very generalized questions here. What we have is an NGO and 3 deceased, where there seems to be nothing more than natural causes having been the cause of the death. So to go beyond that does become a question of relevance, at least in respect of this particular NGO. It may be that in respect of other NGOs, it may not be irrelevant, but in this one, it is.
Come
As
again?
it pleases you. In respect of this particular NGO, the questions are not helpful, because in respect of this particular NGO, what we know is that these 3 deceased died of natural causes, as Mr. Late says. And that's the problem, and that's why this line of questioning is a set of generalities. And that's why it is irrelevant, as Mr. Late says, in respect of this particular NGO, as it pleases your ladyship.
Thank you. Mr. Profi, before I go to Mr. Late, I saw there was a hand, but I'm just trying to avoid a repetition. Mr. Profi, were you not covered? Mr. Profi? What happened to him now? Yes, there he is. I don't know. I still see Mr. Martin on my screen. I don't know whether you also see him, Mr. Late.
I don't see him now, Mark.
The face is not there, but
I see his name, yes, but not the face.
yes, the name is still there. Mr. Profi?
Apologies, my ladies, I was kept out of the meeting. I'm not going to repeat what my colleague has stated, that the generalization is clear. I agree with Mr. Martin, but where I do agree with my senior advocate Hasim is in relation to the department, that evidence is relevant.
Okay.
And should be put to the witness.
All right, Mr. Late?
Yes, my lady.
Am I, just before you proceed, am I correct to say that one of these deceased, in one of the dockets, the post-mortem is not there, and the 2 died of natural causes? Am I correct?
Yes, my lady. Yes. One of them, in the event of Mr. Ryan, there was no post-mortem done.
Yes, yes.
In the other 2, there are post-mortems. In all 3, there are extensive medical notes of the hospitals as well as the NGO. And if Mr. Sassim is going to argue that the movement of the patients over several times can coincide with the causes of death or the medical history as noted on these reports, by all means. But then she must show to us why she says that the movement had killed these people, where it's clear from the medical reports that they died of natural causes. So I stay with my argument that it's general. It doesn't assist the school.
Well, I don't. Okay. I don't want this issue to be prolonged. Can we hear you?
My lady, I don't remember a piece of evidence from Dr. Talatala specifically with regard to this deceased, which talks to the cause of death as being the movement. I've heard my senior advocate Hasim making reference to the expert evidence after Dr. Talatala. I don't remember that piece of evidence. If she can educate us.
We'll hear her. That's fine. Ms. Hasim?
Lady, I wasn't referring to a specific deceased in relation to this NGO. I was referring to Dr. Talatala's evidence about the management and treatment of mental health care users and the impact of multiple moves on the mental and physical condition of mental health care users. So that's the first thing. And in relation to the rest, my lady, I'm in the court's hands.
Yes. What the court will do, I agree with them, but if you specify so that you can be able to follow what you want to put forth, if you can specify your questions, because as we indicate what we see here, I can't remember, I think, but I know that one deceased in one file, there is no post-mortem. Then two, medical evidence is there where they say they died of natural causes. So if you want to bring something that you are indicating now, let us know it so that we shouldn't deny you that opportunity. And then
Maybe the question of whether the patients died of natural causes or not is, we are here because we are investigating non-natural cause deaths. That's what an inquest, that is the jurisdiction of an inquest. So that's the starting point. We can't simply eliminate this, because what ultimately caused the demise of these users is a series of events. The fact that the ultimate condition and the cause of death on a report, and I accept, and I think it's problematic that there are many dockets in which we don't have post-mortems, is not the end of the story. Part of the story is what happened to these users before they died. So maybe what I can do is what I was going to do, which is put a question to the witness regarding, for example, docket number 50, Timothy Khumalo, and see if that assists the court in any way.
Yes, yes, continue.
Thank you, my lady. Ms. Mbasha, do you recall the deceased Timothy Khumalo?
Pardon, can you repeat that, concern?
Do you recall the deceased Timothy Khumalo?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And do you recall what happened to him in the days preceding his demise?
There were nurses who were looking after him. I can't recall everything. I recall the fact that I was called to check on his hand.
What was wrong with his hand?
It was swollen.
And maybe what we should do is just look at your medical records. Perhaps if you can look at page 4325. And it looks like from my, do you have it?
Yes, I do have it.
There's a question by Mr. Trophy, my lady.
Yeah, I apologize for interrupting my learned senior, but I think the evidence leader canvassed this point that there was extensive medical evidence in respect of this of Timothy Nxumalo. So to now canvass all that medical evidence.
Yes, I just don't want the witness to be there when you raise issues then. Okay, continue.
Apologies, my lady, that the opinion and the medical evidence in respect of the hospital reports, the NGO's reports, all that evidence by the experts was, we spent a day on that already. So to now put all that medical evidence again to this witness is but wasting time when the experts have already done this.
Yes, Ms. Hassim.
I find it extraordinary that my learned friend would say it's wasting time.
I just don't understand, because I thought I wanted to understand where you are getting with regard to your line of cross-examination. So I don't know.
My lady, I think to say that there's been evidence that's led in relation to this docket, and therefore there's nothing to put to the person under whose care this deceased was is not a reasonable objection to make. But I am again in the court's hands. I'm willing to stop at this point.
No, continue. Continue. The question is allowed. Mr. Profi.
Hand, my lady.
Okay. Yes, I thought we were trying to find out as to where are you going regarding your cross-examination. Right. Continue. Continue.
Okay. All right. I'll just ignore those hands then.
Is it, I think, Mr. Profi, can you please lower your hand? Thank you.
And I think Mr. Martin as well, at least from my side.
I don't see anything. Mr. Martin?
My hand is not raised. I know MS Teams has been doing very odd things today, so it might be that Ms. Hassim is still seeing my hand, but it's not up and I can't lower it.
I'm not seeing it. I don't know. Thank you.
So right, my lady, I can see Mr. Martin on the screen, but it's a blank.
Yes.
Fine.
All right.
My lady, I'm actually going to exit and come back in. I think I might be causing some trouble for all of you.
You can do that. Thank you. Continue.
My lady, I was referring to page 4325. And on that page, at the entry for 23 November, is where it states his hand is swollen. And then on 25 November, Ms. Mbacha, it says that he had a bad sore on his hip and he fell from his bed and got injured to his hand. I managed to stop the bleeding and dress him. My question to you is, was this reported to you?
I'm looking at it. The report that I got was the swollen hand. And if you can go to my statement or on the cardex, when I came and see the patient, I saw that he had a swollen hand. I didn't get the report about the patient having fallen. However, because he was frail and old, he did, most of the time, he did fall, and the injuries that he sustained were minor because he was elderly.
How old was he?
About 67.
And do you have anything else to add regarding his the days prior to his demise? We see that there are some entries here on the patient on this form, but is there anything that you have to add in relation to this?
No, nothing to add. What I have added, it's what I've given in my statement. I have nothing to add at the present moment.
Thank you, my lady. I have no further questions.
Thank you. Ms. Mujerere?
Yes, please, the court, my lady. I have no questions for this witness.
Thank you. Ms. Foster, are you there?
That's good, please, my lady. I'm present.
Do you have questions to the witness?
Yes, my lady. Good morning, Ms. Mbata. My name is Phyllis Foster. I'm acting on behalf of 4 families of the deceased person. I have to place on record that none of my deceased was patients at Ubusle Mkosi. What I just wanted to inquire from you is all the patients that you have received. You said to the court that you wanted female patients, you received male patients, and you received 40 of them. Is that correct?
That is correct, Counsel.
Thank you. The 40 mental health care users that you have received, did all of them arrive together at your premises?
Yes, they did arrive together.
And the 4 deceased were part of those 40 mental health care users that arrived. Is that correct?
The 3 deceased were part of it.
I apologize. Thank you. In paragraph 10 of your statement on page 545, you made the comment, I further believe, are you there? It's on page 545, paragraph 10.
Okay. Yes, I've read that.
Thank you. The line 8 from the bottom of that, from the top of that paragraph, you said, I further believe that moving patients to my NGO exposed them to danger due to the lack of funding and the promised support. What did you mean by that?
Counsel, I meant that because my NGO was supposed to house the patients who are chronically ill, not the frail and the elderly. The elderly needed more employees because they needed 24/7 care and support. That's what I meant.
Okay, so what did you mean by the moving of the patients will expose them to danger?
Because the NGO was not supposed to look after the frail patients.
So you received frail patients that your NGO was not equipped to deal with. Is that, am I understanding it correctly?
Yes.
The next sentence, you said, our signed agreement with the Department of Health based on funding support were never met. Which agreement did you refer to here?
Can you rephrase the question?
Just the next sentence. I'm still on page 545, paragraph 10. Just the next sentence. It says our signed agreement. Can you see that?
Yes, I do.
Our signed agreement with the Department of Health based on funding support were never met. Which agreement did you refer to here?
The agreement that I referred to was the first few months where the NGO was not paid.
How many months?
Everything. About 3 months.
3 months. So you haven't received any funding from the Department of Health for 3 months?
First 3 months. Yeah, around 50 days or 60 or 50 days around there. I'm not sure about.
Was there this problem or this concerns about the funding and the support, with who of the department did you raise these issues?
I always talk to Mr. Lehau and Ms. Rochelle Gordon.
So they were aware of the problems?
Yes, they were.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my lady. I do not have any further questions. Thank you, Ms. Mabatra.
It's a pleasure.
Who is next? Mr. Sibara?
Thanks, my lady. We have no questions to the witness.
Ms. Sevuko, is she there?
Thank you, my lady. No questions for the witness.
Ms. Ramaimela?
As the court pleases, my lady, no questions for the witness.
Thank you. Ms. Walker?
As the court pleases, my lady, I have few questions for the witness.
You want to proceed?
Yes, my lady, I'm trying to switch on my camera. My lady, may I be allowed few minutes to change my laptops? I see that the camera is not switching on
In
this one.
any event, this is 13 minutes past 11. I think we can take the tea adjournment and we will start at 11:30. The witnesses want. The court is going to take, the court takes a tea adjournment. Thank you.
May I please, your ladyship?
who was did you say the district or through the pharmacy?
Yeah, through Mr. Lehau, through the pharmacy. He would come and collect the scripts from the clinic, from the home.
The arrangement was made by Mr. Lehau?
Yes.
Just a second. Thank you.
So you agree that there was assistance from Rochelle or Mr. Lehau?
May I not answer that because they said in the beginning that didn't happen.
But eventually it did happen.
Yes.
Right. And then regarding the issue of the food, Ms. Gordon has already testified that petty cash was used to provide your NGO with food, and then they referred you to Ms. Poltrina Khanyago, who is their finance lady.
Council, I'm not aware of that. That never happened for Ubuhle Bongosi.
If I may direct you to page 37356.
Page?
37356, my lady. Are you there, ma'am?
Yes, I'm there. I can see it.
What we see on page 35356 is an email that was addressed to Ms. Poltrina Khanyago by yourself, and it reads, "Good day, follow up on the meeting held a week with Ms. Gordon and Mr. Lehau. I was referred to you. What do you, in light of what you've just testified on, that you were never referred to Ms. Poltrina, the finance lady of the department, and in light of your evidence that you were never referred to that person, what do you make of what should we make of this email?"
Council, I don't remember myself saying I was not referred to Ms. Poltrina. What I said was from the department, I got no response about the problems that I talked about. There was no petty cash given to us. There was nothing done which brought a change to the NGO. Nothing at all.
Ma'am, I put it to you that you were assisted when you called on Mr. Julian Lehau and Ms. Rochelle Gordon. You were assisted, as I've already shown in respect of this email that I've showed you, and you were linked to the clinic. That I will argue at the end.
I will not answer to that. I will not answer to that because I'm not aware of that.
As the court pleases, my lady, those are my questions to this witness.
Thank you.
As the court pleases.
Ms. Maite, do you have questions to the witness?
May it please, my lady, I have no questions for this witness.
Thank you. Mr. Pinar, on behalf of Mr. Shabangu.
May it please the court, my lady. Mr. Shabangu indicated that he has no questions for this witness, my lady.
Thank you. Ms. Mboweni.
May it please the court, my lady. Ms. Mboweni has requested me to stand in for her and to indicate to the court that she has no questions for this witness.
Thank you.
As the court pleases, my lady.
Mr. Manamela, is he still part of the proceedings? Mr. Manamela, are you there? Tisa Malebe, are you there? Going to pass them. Mr. Pichela?
As court pleases, my lady. I only have one question, one or two questions. They pertain to the situation that prevailed at the NGOs.
Okay.
May I proceed, my lady?
Yes, you can.
Thank you, ma'am. My name is Joe Pitel. I represent 5 interested persons in this life Esidimeni Inquest.
Just check your position properly, otherwise you're going to break.
Am I 5 now, my lady?
Yes, although you look blurry, but it's fine. Let's proceed.
Yes, the question that I have for you, ma'am.
You move towards the other side again now.
You've indicated this side.
The minute you start, yeah, you start move, you get the better position, but then you start moving towards the other side. Then it's going to affect your audibility. Okay, continue.
The question that I have for you is, yes, you've testified that there was issues of non-payment, correct?
Good afternoon, Council. Yes, that's correct.
Now, what I want to understand and what I want you to assist this court is how did that affect the NGO's ability to deliver quality services to these mental health care users? What was the impact of that?
Council, I'm not sure if I'm comfortable to answer that. May I not answer that?
Thank you. Now, that, my lady, would then conclude my questioning for the witness.
Thank you. It appears after testifying, these people are no longer part of the proceedings. Mr. Veselo? Miss Kekana? Dr. Kekana? Do you have questions to the... Yes? Are you muted? Same as yesterday. But we can't hear you. It's fine. Okay.
My lady, I read the lips. You said she has no questions.
Yesterday I relied on the lips, but I'm also having problems. Please check your record. Please check your connectivity, but it's fine. Mr. Profi, but do you have questions?
I'm just waiting
before you ask your questions. Come again.
I just wanted to. I do have a few questions, my lady. I just wanted confirmation if there are any outstanding issues that anyone would like to raise at this point. I believe Mr. Pienaar and Mr. Van Bergen asked to their cross-examination to be postponed.
Oh, yes. Mr. Pienaar?
May it please the court, my lady, I have no questions at this stage for the witness. Thank you, my lady.
Thank you. Mr. Van Bergen?
My lady, equally at this stage, I do not have any questions.
Okay, thank you.
In that regard, may I then proceed, my lady?
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm going to be quite brief. It's merely you had made reference with Advocate Hasim that there was correspondence on case lines to which you received no answer. I just wanted to confirm if we can turn to page 37336. Just let me know once you're there.
Okay, I'm looking at the document. Thank you.
This evidence has previously been before the court, but I just need to confirm that you had requested for Mr. William Mvulani and Timothy Ngamalo, given their comorbidities and their being frail and elderly, for them to be moved to a suitable old age home, as they were both over the age of 56. Your answer to Ms. Hasim was that you didn't get a response to that correspondence. Is this the correspondence you're referring to that you didn't get a response to?
Correct. That's the one that I referred to.
So you reached out and you didn't get any assistance in this regard, correct?
Yes.
Then the second question is then, Ms. Hasim took you through quite a number of moves. I just wanted to confirm that in those moves, the places were inspected and approved by the department.
Yes, they were inspected.
And another team would then come and tell you it's not compliant, and that would inspire the move to a compliant premise, correct?
That's correct. It happened on the first one.
And that's how it went until you settled at Centurion.
Yes, Council.
You had given evidence that you were not licensed to receive elderly. Am I correct that that would impact your staff ratio and as well as the subsidy that you were meant to receive from the department?
That is correct, Council.
And that had a negative impact on your ability to care for the users, correct?
That is correct.
My lady, I have no further questions for the witness.
Thank you. Just perhaps one question from me, Ms. Mbacha.
I'm listening, my lady.
In respect of the orchard premises, you had a license that permitted you to only take 20 patients. Am I correct?
You are correct, my lady.
And you used this license to 40 patients at a different place.
My lady, I would disagree because the site was inspected and approved, but a license was not issued yet.
Yes,
so it doesn't mean
the fact of the matter is that you used a license which was not the correct license for that particular place. And even if it was approved, there was no license yet, because the license that you operated on is the license that only allowed you to take only 20 patients.
Yes, the license was not issued yet. I agree.
So you used, isn't it previously you agreed that you used that license that was issued for the orchard premises to operate at the other place?
Yes.
And at this other place, is it not Lanseria, the Centurion place? When you went there with the patients, did you have the license?
No, it was issued later.
Okay. Are there questions from the questions that I've asked? I've
None. Thank you, my lady.
Mr. Van Bergen? Did you say none?
Indeed, I did, my lady. No questions.
All right. Mr. Profi?
My lady, if I may just follow up on the court's question. I see the evidence leader is, if he wants to say something, I'm not sure.
Yes, Mr. Late?
Yes, I wanted to ask a following up question.
Okay. Can you go first before Mr. Profi?
Yes. Is it then correct that you were awaiting, when you moved to the premises into Centurion, you were awaiting a new license and it was later issued?
That is correct, Council.
Thank you, my lady. I have no further questions.
Yes.
Ma'am, just a follow-up to just a point of clarity. It's very similar to the evidence leader's question, but merely just that the licenses were then backdated to the period when you began operating in that premise, correct?
That is correct, Council.
That is all, my lady.
My lady, sorry, I indicated earlier I don't have questions, but there is just one question flowing from the questions of Mr. Late and Mr. Profi, if I may be allowed to put that.
Okay.
Ms. Mbacha, good morning. I'm Harry van Bergen. I act for Life Esidimeni. My question relates to the various moves as you dealt with now in the questions from Her Ladyship, Mr. Late and Mr. Profi. If you could just indicate the various moves, the one from Marabastad to Lanseria and from Lanseria to Centurion, were those moves made with the knowledge and blessing of the Department of Health?
In fact, just a second, it should be from the Orchard home. And the last place, yes, or you are not concerned about the Orchard?
No, as I understand, Ms. Mbacha never received patients at the Orchard's premises. The patients were received at the Marabastad premises. Ms. Mbacha, so my question is simply, was the Department of Health aware of the moves and did they consent to those moves taking place?
Yes, they did.
Thank you, my lady.
Where is the witness? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for your evidence. You are excused. Thank you.
Thank you, my lady.
Mr. Late.
So please, my lady, I did forward the schedule for the remaining witnesses yesterday. We propose to lead the evidence of Dorothy Franks on Monday, as well as
Ms. Noile.
Ms. Noile, that's correct, my lady.
Yes.
And the day thereafter, we said, as well as that's for the 14th and the 15th, we said down Efam Mube And I think it's Monsieur Niatlu.
Miss?
No, no.
Morale.
Yes, that's correct, my lady.
It's fine. I've noted you, Mr. Pitlela. Yes.
I just want to inform the people that we do the schedule for in case a witness finish early, like the witness today. If we don't get to a witness on the day she's scheduled, we will roll over as is normally done. But we want to prohibit try to not use only half days till we've finished. So that's why we put in the witnesses 2 a day, and we'll go on as the situation calls for. As a court, please.
Yes. I don't know whether it's Sasha or Ms. Hasim. Can you indicate your concerns regarding leading Ms. Ethel Mube on the 14th? I think I saw an email. Am I correct, Ms. Hasim?
Thank you, Milady. Yes, you are correct. We requested that we would like a little bit more time in order to prepare. There are important witnesses in respect of some of the families of the deceased that we represent. And preparing for these NGO owners takes a bit of time, and we won't be ready by Tuesday for Ms. Mube. For the rest, we have no objection.
Okay. Mr. Just a second before I give you the chance. There is Mr. Van Bergen.
Thank you, my lady. I just wanted to record that I support the request by Ms. Hassan and her team. There are a large number of deceased covered by these interested parties, NGOs, and if Ms. Hassan and her team have difficulties in preparing in the time available, your ladyship will appreciate that it's even more difficult for me on my own. So I would support that we, and I understand the rationale behind booking 2 witnesses per day, but my lady, the reality is whether they called or not, ultimately we still have to prepare for them. And the time available is just not sufficient for these 4 very important witnesses.
Thank you, Mr. Van Bergen. Mr.
My lady.
Pitlela, I'll give you the chance. You'll be the last. Mr. Pitlela.
My lady, I don't understand why Ms. Mube is being singled out in this regard. Because if I'm able to prepare for a testimony in the time that has been given, then everybody else should be able to do that. I don't think she needs to be given specific or special consideration. She's a witness in this matter, and we are saying on Tuesday she will be ready to testify. If it means I have to work over the weekend, that's what I'm willing to do. Another issue, my lady, is this matter, there's internal things that are happening now, and if we are not able to dispose of this matter, it's going to present a lot of difficulties going forward after the recess. So I'm just mindful of that, and I'm trying to push as hard as I can so that we can then
We can't hear you now. You're breaking.
With these witnesses.
You are breaking now.
It's the poor connection. Yeah, it's
Please exit the meeting and rejoin Mr. Pitlela.
Yes, so that is what I'm putting forward.
Please
yes, your
exit
ladyship,
the meeting. I've noted you, Mr. Profi. Can we wait for Mr. Pichele?
Apologies for that, my lady. Yes, as I was saying, I don't see a reason why Ms. Ngube should be singled out. The evidence is already on record in respect of what she's going to testify to. She's not a medical expert. Her role should not be overplayed. So I will be in a position to proceed with Ms. Ngube to prepare her in the remaining days for her testimony on Tuesday.
Okay, thank you. It will also depend on whether we're done with the two for Monday. Yes, okay. I see Mr. Profi,
Indeed,
Mr. Martin, then Mr. Late. Mr. Profi.
My lady, I wanted to just use the opportunity while Mr. Prisler was logging in to just ask, we're not disputing the 13th. So for the purposes of the record, could we not postpone to the 13th and have this discussion off the record?
No. Mr. Ebenezer, no.
But other than that, it passed. That passed because he's back.
Okay.
We did it this week. We just did it now. In this week, we did.
But he came back, isn't it? Thank you.
No, my lady, I'm saying my point is that we've done it this week. We just did it now. We had 3 NGOs back to back, and we could conclude it all in this week. So I don't see what the difficulties in doing it next week again.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ebenezer. Mr. Martin.
Thank you, my lady. I'm covered.
Thank you.
Yes, my lady. I do not understand the problem with that Mrs. Hassim has, as and confirmed by Mr. van Bergen. Mrs. Hassim was part of the arbitration hearing where Mrs. Ngube had testified. She had all the documentation, everything at her disposal at a very early stage. The sequential list of witnesses was put to the use of all the parties from the start of this matter. They had known that Ms. Ethel Ngube would have testified even earlier than she will now testify. I cannot see what difficulties there are in preparing for a testimony, in view of the fact that Ms. Hassim had known about her testimony for a very long time. The same with Mr. van Bergen. As far as Mr. van Bergen is concerned, Ms. Ngube, in none of her statements has any form with life Esidimeni. So I don't know what intricate preparation he needs before her testimony. The statements are all on record. The testimonies against her are all on record. Testimony before the arbitration is everything on record. All the exhibits is on record. I don't know. I cannot see that any of the witnesses can prescribe to this court or the evidence leader when a witness has to testify, except for Mr. Pichlela and Mr. Prof who came in late. Mrs. Hassim didn't come in late. In fact, she did come before anybody else in this matter into the life Esidimeni issue. I would propose that the court, if possible, if we are finished with the other 2 witnesses on Monday, that Ethel Ngube testify on Tuesday as set out in the notice.
Yes, Mr. Sim, do you want to respond, to reply?
Lady, I'm not sure why Mr. Late holds the arbitration against me. That was a very long time ago. There's a lot of evidence on the record that I'm required to go through, and my team. It's also not only me who has been conducting questioning of the witnesses. I've also been sharing that with my learned friend, Ms. Raja Badler. She certainly was not steeped in all of these issues from well before. And the fact that we know where Ms. Ncube comes on the list of witnesses doesn't really help, because one could say that we should have gotten to her, many months ago. That's just not how it works. We need to know when she's coming so that we can prepare. We don't prepare in advance and then wait 2 months and then say, well, now we are ready. I'm afraid that's not just not how the process can work, particularly not when there's so many records that we need to scrutinize. And the record is very big. We do have a number of families who have had deceased who have passed away at these NGOs. And we need to give them our proper assistance and time in being able to represent their interests and their instructions properly. So for Mr. Lake to say, well, I need more time, I think it's just, it's not helpful. I am appealing to this court to allow us some time. We've never at any point in these hearings requested a postponement or requested for witnesses to come later. We've been diligent in maintaining our presence in this inquest and in representing our clients, and in trying to do so in a way that doesn't unnecessarily prolong proceedings. This is the first time I'm making this request.
What about the concerns raised by Mr. Pichela?
No, I don't understand his concern, my lady.
Yes, I think he's saying in the next term there might be some problems because as the matter continues, there are internal issues. I don't know that he's having.
I'm not aware of. Mr. Pichela said something about internal issues, but that's a bit meaningless to me. I'm not sure what the problem is.
Okay, all right. Mr. Pichela, would you want to clarify? And then Mr. Late. Yes, Mr. Pichela. Your hand is up, but I don't know where you are. Mr. Pichela, you should be having problems again. Mr. Late.
As a court, please, my lady, if Mrs. Hassim cannot understand why I refer to her being involved in arbitration, then I don't know what she can understand, because she has been dealing with this matter for a very long time. And if she was not able to prepare for this witness over all this time, I don't know what else would, or how long time she still need to prepare for this witness. Everything is on record. I don't know. It's today, Thursday, and Tuesday is.
I think she's just a second. I think she's joining the meeting. Maybe she was kicked out of the meeting.
My apologies, my lady. My connection dropped, but I'm back now.
Yes, where is Mr. Pichela? And I see Mr. Martin again. And you, Mr. Profi?
My lady, I just want to advise the court that I spoke to Mr. Pichela. He was kicked out. He's changing devices.
Yes, I can see he's coming. Let him join first. I've noted you, Mr. Martin. Let Mr. Pichela join the meeting first. Mr. Late, just before you finish, let me give Mr. Pichela the opportunity. Then Mr. Martin, then yourself.
My lady, I can take the court into confidence over the fact that it has been an issue that I've been engaged in this matter, and that by implication means I haven't been attending to other matters. And I'm no longer in Pretoria for one. I'm now working at a different local office, and I've got responsibilities that side. So a proposition was made that I should then be removed from the case, and legally Pretoria should appoint somebody else to take over the matter and to finalize it. And I anticipate that's going to create a big problem, because now I've been with the matter since the 17th of August, and if I have to brief somebody and get them up to speed, it's going to be a serious challenge for the court. But if the court is willing to live with that, then I don't have a problem. But it's just an issue we have been grappling with, because I cannot serve two masters. Now,
thank you.
With regard to the witness, my lady, the request that is being put forward, obviously it's going to impact on my own preparations in this matter. It is not just a matter of saying, let's accommodate Advocate Hasim SC and a team. Now, in fact, they are a team. I'm only one person representing 5 people in this matter. So if I'm saying I can do it, then they should find the time to do it. I mean, when I requested an extension, my lady, we understood that we need to get this matter moving. We need to push this matter to finality. And it will be unfair, and it raises an unpleasantness, because why are we starting to request the extensions in respect of only missing moving, when this is unprecedented, my lady. And if it's a team of people working on this matter, they could find the time to do it. I mean, a weekend is coming. They can sacrifice their time like the rest of us. And the advice that I was given initially was burn the midnight oil. And I've been doing that since the 17th of August. So they should burn the midnight oil, unfortunately. But it has implications not only for missing Mube, but also for the manner in which the proceedings are either going to be finished or not finished, my lady, and my availability thereof. May it please you, my lady.
Yeah, Mr. Pitlel. Mr. Martin?
Thank you, my lady. I don't want to prolong the debate. It would seem to me that Section 27 has a special interest in this witness. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure that the fact that they have an interest is objectionable. It may well be simply because 19 people passed away at the home, and they would like to spend some time preparing. Lady,
wait just a second. I'm going to stop you. I see Ms. Hasim is joining the meeting. She must be part of this discussion.
Yes.
Apologies, my lady. I'm not sure what's happening today with my connection, but I am now back.
Thank
you, did you get Mr. Pitlela's submissions?
I think I did, yes.
Okay. Continue, Mr. Martin.
Perhaps if I just start again quickly, just so Ms. Hasim can hear what I said. I said it seems that Section 27 does seem to have a special interest in the witness, and I'm not sure that is necessarily something that's objectionable. From what I understand, there were some 19 people who passed away at the NGO, so presumably that's what Ms. Hasim wants to dig into. I don't understand that the request to focus on the witness or to have more time is objectionable in and of itself. The only question I would submit the court needs to consider is, does it cause any sort of prejudice to the proceedings for that witness to be held over? And considering how much time we have set aside in the next term, I don't see that it does necessarily cause any true prejudice, unless Mr. Pitlel is somehow placed under pressure, which is what I understand from what he's just stated. He might be placed under pressure. Maybe he won't be with us in the next term. So my submission would be that's really all that the court needs to consider. Can we absorb it? Does it cause prejudice to anybody? Outside of that, it's simply not an inherently objectionable request, as it pleases your ladyship.
Thank you very much. Mr. Late. Before Mr. Late. Yes.
My lady, if I may respond, yes, my lady, just in response to some of what has
Before
happened.
you respond, I think, shouldn't Mr. Late finish and then so that you can respond, reply at the end? I think.
Mr. Late can come.
He was supposed he was supposed to come before you.
I'll yield to Mr. Late. Thank you, my lady.
Yes.
My lady, as I had said, the request is, I cannot understand the request in view of the fact that Ms. Hasim had a very long time to prepare for this witness. This witness is also anxious to have her evidence finished. This court must also take into consideration the witness's situation in which she finds herself. She has prepared with Mr. Pichleda. She's ready to testify. I cannot take it any further because I don't know how long time we must afford any person who now asks. I cannot be ready to cross-examine a witness in 4 days' time, 5 days' time. If that witness testifies on Tuesday, if I start preparing for this witness today, I will not be able to cross-examine the witness on Tuesday. How long? Where are we going to draw the line? If everybody just say I will not be prepared for a certain witness at a certain stage, it's going to set a precedent. If the court allow legal representatives to ad hoc say that they will not be able to cross-examine a witness. If something during testimony would arise and further time is necessary, I can understand indulgence by the court. But after all this time, to tell this court that they will not be able to prepare sufficiently for this witness, I cannot understand that, as the court pleases. And I leave it in the hands of the court further.
Thank you, Ms. Hasim.
Thank you, my lady. I just, a few things. I'm glad that Mr. Late was a bit calmer now. It was reported to me when I was offline that Mr. Late suggested that he doesn't know what I will understand, and I'll just ask him respectfully to remain professional in these proceedings. With regard to Ms. Nube, it's not a question of signaling her out. It's simply that there's more evidence to cover in respect of that witness than other witnesses. Third, she's not the only witness we need to prepare for next week. There are 3 other witnesses. So it's not as simple as saying spend the next few days on one witness. It's simply not as simple as that. And as far as Mr. Pitlela's concerns go, I understand where he's coming from, and I think he's in a difficult position. But the reality is also that Mr. Pitlela will still need to return next term because there are other witnesses to come after his witnesses. So he will still be required to be part of these proceedings. That's all I have to say, my lady.
Okay. Thank you very much. Taking into account all the concerns made, I think it's proper and fair to be properly assisted in these proceedings. So the concerns raised are valid in the sense that if a party says, if we look at the record, we will not be in a position to prepare thoroughly the cross-examination of a witness. Now another party comes and say, I've got pressures of work. All those weighed together. One has to look at the interest of justice in the matter. Are we doing justice to the matter if the other party says, I've got a problem, I cannot, given the pressures that I have at work. I want to do it now. And another party says, but looking at the record and the number of deaths at this particular NGO, we need more time. We understand that we have all been present, attending these proceedings. And I also understand that Mr. Pihlela came late to the proceedings. But given the record of these proceedings, it's proper to give Ms. Hasim and her team ample time to prepare so that then this will therefore call for the evidence of Ms. Ngube to be postponed and be dealt with. Maybe we start with her in the next term. Then we deal with the remaining 3 NGOs, excluding Ms. Ngube, in this term. Thank you.
As a court pleases, my lady.
As the court pleases.
Thank you. Mr. Late, does it mean that the proceedings are therefore adjourned to Monday for the evidence of Ms. Franks?
That's correct, my lady.
Thank you. This is also Mr. Pihlela's client, no?
That's correct, my lady.
Yes, Mr. Pihlela.
My lady, I've been advised that there is a shutdown happening in Pretoria tomorrow. So I was scheduled to go and meet with Miss Karina Morale.
For tomorrow.
Yeah, so it might be a challenge for that because I'm told there's a shutdown, although I've not seen the news or anything, but it's just something that they informed me about, that they might have difficulty going to the Pretoria office because there's a public transport shutdown to protest type fare prices or whatever. So I'm just relaying that to the court.
Okay, but in the meantime, would you be ready to proceed with Ms. Franks on Monday? Because that means if you encounter problems tomorrow with regard to the consultation with Ms. Morale, then that is going to be a problem for you for Tuesday.
Indeed, my lady.
Okay. So at this point in time, can we postpone the proceedings to Monday, the 13th of June, for the evidence of Ms. Franks?
As your ladyship pleases.
Okay. Thank you very much.
As it pleases your ladyship.
Thank you.
May it please the court, my lady.